I just think this weekend when we see my parents to get some birthday presents. Hi, Tony. I'm so sorry about your sister.
Thank you, Gina.
Oh, can you not hear me? Is it me?
No, I can hear you. Maybe you can't hear
Am
me.
I muted? Oh, mine might be on mute. Hold on. That's better.
Thank you.
Oh, Lauren told me.
Yeah, I can't wait till August to end.
Right? Are you sure you want to have the meeting tonight?
Yeah, I'm fine. I spent the weekend with her, and she was on morphine and what is it, Adderall, I think. And she went to sleep at about 2:35 today. So everything's good. You know, we had an interesting weekend, but she was communicative until, you know, she wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it was different than my brother. My brother was in a lot of discomfort, and
Yeah.
she was not.
She was peaceful. Does she have any children?
Yes, she has two sons and a daughter who has taken care of her beautifully, um, and who was there with her.
Great. That's good. I mean, that's what all you can ask for, you know?
That's right. Yeah, she
Oh,
had an impactful life and a quiet, peaceful end. 91. Come on, you know.
I
I
know.
think I may sign. I'm 75. 16 more good years. I'll sign that contract, I think.
Right. I know. I know. How many siblings do you have? You must have a big family.
I went from the youngest to the only in 13 days.
Oh, it was just the two of them or your only siblings?
Yeah. Yeah, we had two brothers who died in childhood and
Oh,
infancy.
God.
You know, poverty deaths.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, the flu was one, and one scarlet fever.
Oh, wow. So is that why there's such an age gap between you and your sister? And your brother
Uh,
was in his 80s also, right?
yeah, he was. My sister was 10 years older than my brother, and my brother was 6 years older than me. And then there was a boy between.
In between each of you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, a good Catholic Italian
I
family.
know, right? Exactly. Oh,
Nice busy day today. Kept my mind off things.
yeah. Sometimes that's all you need. Hopefully, oh, Tony, the meeting, the state like school committee or the meeting that was going to take place to decide upon whether or not there was going to be a mask mandate. I don't even know what time those meetings are. Are they running at the same time as our meeting, or did they run?
No, it happened today, and there is a mask mandate.
Okay, I figured as much. I mean, that could have saved us some time a couple weeks ago. Oh, well,
As always, Nahant leads the way.
that's all right. I mean, I don't think that we had any question on that one.
No.
And luckily, I don't think that our families will really, give us a hard time about it either.
No, we had activities here today, and everybody had a mask on.
Oh, in the school. Oh, when they came for the tours.
Yeah, we had it outside, and some people came and toured, and
Yeah.
I haven't heard one negative thought.
No.
I mean, we're being. It really helps to have the medical expertise on the school committee that we have. Seriously, the average parent is not going to challenge the three of you.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So we're up to, what did I do with it? Oh, it's over here. We're up to 33 kids in preschool. So we're going to be in the hiring mode.
I was going to say.
So Kevin and I will take care of that. We already have one of the two people we need to hire lined up, and then we have another one.
Okay.
So we'll be okay.
Is there somebody set up for lunch bunch?
Yep.
Yes, Kevin. Okay. Somebody had asked me that. Not as a school committee well, I feel like anything I get asked maybe is as a school committee member, but more as a parent that was just with a preschooler. And if we were going to have a
yeah, why don't you ask Kevin? You know what? I don't have lunch bunch on my data sheets. Let me.
Yeah, I'll ask him when we're going through the staff.
That's a really good question. Lunch bunch we can run with a minimal number of kids.
Yeah, I know that there was definitely interest. So.
Good. And the after school is all put to bed.
I know.
As always, I negotiated a really good deal for the parents and the school district. It's the lowest rate that was approved by the school committee. The 5-day rate is going to be the rate for everybody.
Right.
And we're going to get 15% of the net. And they wanted to give us 10 initially.
So when parents paid for after school, aside from, oh, look at Patty signing in. Patty's in Europe.
Oh, wow.
Oh, she's so funny. Hi, Patty.
Hello. Hi, Gina.
I can't believe you're signing in.
Why?
You're too funny. Is it 1 a.m. there?
It is. It's 1 a.m., but I'm still wide awake.
Yeah.
Where are you, Patty?
I'm in Belgium.
Oh, wow. Fabulous.
Oh, it's beautiful country.
Lauren, look who's here from Belgium.
Hi,
Are you
Lauren.
serious, Patty? Oh my goodness.
That's dedication right there.
Patty and Tony both deserve badges of honor this evening. My gosh.
No, Tony does.
Oh gosh. Patty, I thank you for making it from across the seas. Whoa.
Come on now.
Hi, Kevin. And Tony, I know I'm probably late to this, but I'm just so sorry again. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I went from the youngest child to the only child in 13 days. That's
Hard to imagine.
I'm so sorry, Tony.
thank you. You guys have been fabulous, and the flowers you sent were beautiful. As Kevin, as were the flowers that the staff sent to my sister-in-law. Kevin, do you have a count on the lunch bunch yet?
Oh, I do have a count. I'm gonna have to pull it up, but I'm happy to share that.
Okay, you didn't give me that one.
Okay, I'm on it now.
Thank you.
18 on a Monday is the biggest.
18
18.
for lunch bunch?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is 16. My eyes are failing me. It's 17 total, 17 registered. 16 is the largest enrollment on a Monday and a Friday. 16 is the largest, biggest day we have right now. And that's with one student that we know is coming and has not yet completed their registration. I should say their parents haven't.
So we need to hire paras. We'll talk offline, but I
Sure.
know we need a preschool teacher
Yep.
and a para.
Yep.
And the lunch bunch is going to require 2.
Right. We have one person lined up, and I had 2 very good interviews from experienced a preschool para and a preschool teacher today.
Done.
Yep.
You're the magic man.
I just keep interviewing. It's all summer. I just keep interviewing.
I know. Just when you think you're done, hold on to those resumes.
Yeah, that's right.
You never know when you're gonna have to pull them back out.
That's right.
Now, Kevin, if you weren't such an abysmal failure at finding a one-day music teacher,
I know.
I would nominate you for Principal of the Year.
I ask every interviewee, I say, hey, what about chorus? But we have a plan for that too. I have a plan for a music education this year at the start. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we like, I can open up, not that there's anybody else in the waiting room, but I can open up the waiting room. Hi, Beth. Let me just figure out how to undo this. All right, I'm not gonna, so people will just join the meeting.
And for this evening, Beth, did you want to do minutes or do you want me to? What's easiest?
I will do them. I
Thanks,
have
Beth.
to make a disclosure that I'm kind of known for not being very good at them, but I will rise. I will definitely rise because I want to do my part. You might have to just give me a quick, it's just votes, yay, nay, and what the vote is.
Yeah, you can use the agenda as a template is what I would do when I was taking minutes.
Okay.
And then
Or the minutes
from the
that-
last meeting.
from the last meeting. If you use that, it's all laid out for you.
But isn't
Oh,
that?
wait, no, that's not true. The last meeting, we had an abbreviated agenda.
But isn't that a PDF?
Nope,
Oh,
I don't think so.
Or, you know what, Beth, I'll quick send you the last meeting minutes. So
No,
Kevin, I think
we need 2 meetings ago to get the full agenda because,
that's
okay.
fine.
and then minutes are just the votes or the substantive things, not like anything more in terms of
less is more.
Yeah, for sure.
I've managed to get out of this for a long time in my career. You're holding me accountable right now. Which is good.
Well, then your volunteerism is even more noteworthy.
Oh my gosh. Let's see, grabbing my glasses for this one, Tony.
My wife asked me how come I never lose my glasses, and it's simple. It's the last thing I do before I go to sleep, and it's the first thing I do when I wake up. It's easy. I can't see a thing.
I am definitely getting there.
All right, Beth, I just sent you one of the previous meeting minutes, not the last one because it was an abbreviated meeting, but one of the ones from the spring
My email.
to your Gmail. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And so there's, just open up the regular school committee minutes. And you could just, you know, edit the content to reflect our meeting today.
Okay. All right, will do.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Yep, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
And Beth, for the principal's report, you can just cut and paste what Kevin sent, make it easy.
Because his is in a Word document. He just
Oh,
sent
right.
it.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Cut and paste, just cut and paste his whole report in there. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so at 7:07, I'll call the school committee meeting for August 24th, 2021 to order. And if everybody could please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Patty, I hope you didn't violate any laws in Belgium by doing the pledge.
Pledge of Allegiance.
You're a citizen.
Would anybody like to discuss the meeting minutes from the last meeting, which was August 9th, our additional school committee regular meeting from August 9th? If there's any discussion regarding the minutes, and if nobody has any comments, if I could have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from August 9th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 9th.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it with just one really very minor correction. On page 2 under the principal's report, the minutes reflect thanks to John Sherlock about the dog outfit, but
Okay.
my husband's not to be thanked. I'm sure he'd be
Brian.
supportive, but that's very minor. Everything else looks great.
Now, how do I put that in there? Do I say Lauren Sherlock corrected the minutes to reflect her name instead of John's?
Well,
Just change it.
to Ryan instead of John.
Ryan, yeah, it was her son.
I don't get credit either.
Okay,
The minutes are only a draft until you vote them. So the way you vote them are the minutes. So you don't have to go into great detail about what was changed.
so I go back into the minutes, I'll make the change and then send it to you, Tony, when I send the minutes out, or to Regina.
I could do that.
Okay,
Any
Wanna
other?
Vote.
I wouldn't have even picked up on that. Thanks, Lauren. Any other discussion regarding the August 9th meeting minutes? All in favor of approving the meeting minutes from August 9th? Ms. Karas, Ms. Sherlock, Ms. Anderson, and myself. Motion passes. And Mr. Parentazzi, if you'd like to just summarize the bills that are on our roll to be paid tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With your permission, the bills this evening total $72,514.91. They include materials, educational materials, and facility materials. They include a membership for the school committee to become a member of MASC. They include the district's membership in the Massachusetts Partnerships for Youth. It includes payments to the North Shore Education Consortium for Special Education. Our first payments for buses. We had our annual carpet cleaning, extermination, some electrical bills, and some plumbing bills. A pretty typical one in terms of it's a little larger than normal, but they are all typical charges to start the school year. Madam Chair, with your permission, I will recommend that the school committee approve the bill roll of $72,514.91. And when the motion is made and seconded, I have the backup here if anyone has any questions.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the bill roll in the amount of $72,514.91.
I'll second that motion made by Ms. Karas.
Any discussion regarding the bill roll? All in favor of approving? Ms. Karas, Ms. Sherlock, Ms. Anderson, and myself. Motion carries. Mr. Parentozzi, do you have a COVID-19 update to give for tonight's meeting?
I do. Thank you. The first item that I would like to talk to you about is the fact that I'm looking for the right, here we go. The COVID-19, I apologize, Madam Chair, through you. I have not had a chance. I have been communicating with the public health nurses and our school nurse and have not gotten a return, and I did not have a chance today to look on the website. My understanding is we're still in really good, I do know we're not a red community, and I do know we're still in pretty good shape in terms of COVID and the Delta strain. The most important thing for the members of the school committee to know is that today the Board of Education approved a mask mandate. I was joking with our chair earlier that once again, Nahant leads the way. The small but mighty school committee decided to lead the state in a mask mandate prior to them deciding to do it. We are in good shape. And later on in the agenda, I have some other details to talk to you about the facilities and about air purifiers. But we are ready. We are really ready to start the school year in fine shape.
And Mr. Parentozzi, that's through October 1st, right? If I'm not mistaken, the full every student, every staff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the Board of Education decided to take it stage by stage or step by step or piece. You know, right now they're talking about just the beginning of school, August and September. They will reevaluate based on the data, which is frankly exactly how the Nahant School Committee has been functioning for over a year. Look at the data and then make a decision. Right now that the Commonwealth is in much better shape than many states, but there still is an uptick. And you all know, or two of you know probably better than I. The good news is that the hospitalizations and the deaths are not in the same ratio as in the past with the number of cases. It's much lower. And I personally know two people who have gotten COVID over the last month who are in their 60s, and their physician was blunt. If you were not vaccinated, both of you would be in the hospital right now struggling. And neither of them had more than, I would say, a moderate case of the flu. Not mild, not severe, but moderate. And the vaccination was able to have them avoid much more dire consequences. And in our community, of course, the vaccination rate for adults is outstanding. We are all still waiting for the decision about 3-year-olds to 12-year-olds. Rumor was it would be next week, but I'm not getting that sense anymore.
No, I think they're talking about late fall, unfortunately.
I also
I
heard data coming in from Pfizer, possibly late September, but then the FDA needing to digest and assess
Yeah.
that data could take a bit longer.
I do know Pfizer has requested from from Atlanta a full authorization and approval rather than the emergency one. That's the only thing I've heard. It's very interesting that Moderna, in the case of the 3 vaccinations, it seems that Moderna has the best data in terms of effectiveness, and yet Pfizer is ahead of Moderna in asking for full approval. I don't know what that means, if anything, or whether I just don't understand what I'm reading, which is very likely.
Pfizer just got full FDA approval.
Pardon me?
Pfizer did get full FDA approval.
They did.
Today.
I think what Tony is saying is that Moderna's data looked a little bit stronger than
Yeah.
Pfizer.
Yeah.
But it was not significant. It wasn't really statistically significant. But I don't know why there's a little bit more of a lag. I think the data collection is just normally so much slower than what people have been able to accomplish in this kind of miraculous year and a half with vaccine development. So the speed Pfizer showed there was really remarkable, but I don't know. We're lucky to have the options we do, though.
Yeah. And it just tailing off of I know that obviously the schools mandated mask wearing for the first month of school, but also in Nahant at the end of, I think it was maybe last week, they released a mask mandate for indoors. Am I incorrect in saying that? Face coverings are required to be worn by patrons and employees inside essential businesses. So it's also supporting what the town is implemented.
Yeah, there was a meeting that Kevin monitored for me when I was out of town due to the one of my circumstances, and the discussion was just that. And of course, you had already made the decision to do it, so we had very little to add to the give and take about what should be done, because we knew that we were going to have full masking indoors.
Right.
The cafeteria is also set up with desks rather than tables, all facing in one direction, so the students, when they are eating indoors during inclement weather, will be 6 feet apart.
How many students can the cafeteria accommodate like that?
60.
Oh, and how many students are typically in the cafeteria when there's multiple grades? Is it more than that?
60. Yeah. I'm well. Yeah, I guess we might have to dial it in a
59 and a
little.
half.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a few on the side, and I mean the plan is to just use the typical staffing and schedule for
So
lunch.
they won't have to eat in the classroom even on inclement weather days.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Yeah, because of our rodent issue last year, by March, we were really struggling.
Yeah.
And students actually saw mice, and teachers got upset and parents got upset. What we're trying to do, we now have eradicated it with one of the bills you paid was for extermination. And we're going to try to keep that, go back to the old methods that, and even be more stringent about snacks. Try to avoid a recurrence.
Great. That's good to hear.
Okay.
Do you have any updates on the solar and energy and LED project?
I do. So last week I got an email from Walter Gray, who is the representative of the Power Consortium, and he informed me in writing that about 4 million megawatts of power that had been planned by National Grid were in projects that did not get started. Therefore, it is possible, and I use the word advisedly, possible that if we went forward with our solar project, we would be able to have a fair payment for our overproduction of electricity, particularly during the summer. So I immediately today, I had a conversation with Tony Barletta. I had a conversation with Walter Gray, and we are going to be moving forward. As a matter of fact, we have a Zoom meeting on the 31st of August to see if we are, the town administrator will support us moving forward with the original solar project, which would be effective if we got full payment for our overproduction of electricity. If you remember, we were buying it at 13 cents per kilowatt hour, and we were only going to get 4 back. So we would be making power, paying for the solar, making power that we couldn't use and selling it at a discount rate. So it's not a guarantee that National Grid will do this, but it's he believed it was worth a shot. He also believed the most effective way of getting them to do it would be to get authorization and then go to our elected state representatives to have them petition National Grid on our behalf. That's why Tony Barletta is a key player, because the elected state rep and state senator are much more tied into the municipal leaders than they are school leaders. So that's one of the things that that meeting on the 31st is about. I am still waiting for our consultant to get back to me on the LED project, which is moving forward. But Tony Barletta and I today spoke about the work would be done second shift, evenings, weekends, vacations. It will not be interruptive. So it is possible that when we're done, our electric bill could be obliterated. We could literally be in the black, in the positive side. So, you know, our budget is $45,000, and some years we're over that, some years we're under that, but that would be amazing. Plus, it's of course the right message for our children and for our parents. And once again, I would say that the school committee would be in a leadership role for the community, which is a good place for you to be and for us to be.
Yeah, it sounds like at the very least, it'll be cut back considerably, which is great. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Thank you. I am recommending that for the short term, Madam Chair, I'm on 4C, facilities use.
Yep.
I am recommending for the short term that the school committee does not allow outside agencies or groups to use our facilities until we see where this Delta variant is bringing us. The number one goal is to keep our students, our staff, and our families safe. And it's my opinion that by letting random groups of people come in, signing up for the use of the building in groups that are really harder to police and to control than our students are, we would be premature. I don't believe the school committee has any action you need to take, but I certainly would appreciate your support for that decision that I have made.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable. I guess I'm not familiar with how often the school is used, but I mean, it sounds like a reasonable request and probably in the best interest of keeping the school open.
Agreed.
Yeah, the fall use of the school is erratic
Hmm.
depending upon groups, but we did have groups. We had 2 groups who have already asked for the fall use, and they've been told no. And we're very accepting, by the way. They totally understood.
Yeah.
And then once the bad weather hits, we can be used every day.
Hmm.
The other thing is that because of our new after-school program, which is going to be going to 6 p.m. instead of 5:30,
Mhm.
we have to change the paperwork because we did allow people to come in starting at 5:45, and we obviously have to shift that
Mhm.
to 6:15 or later.
I think it makes perfect sense. I know in past years, there have been different organizations that have used the facility, like basketball leagues, various things like that. And it's great when we can share space and, even have a little bit of revenue for our school and enable people to have activities. But I agree with your prioritization right now, and we can always reassess this at a
Yeah.
future date. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Dr. Pierantozzi, what were you saying about the after-school program? That staff are gonna have to stay, or so 6:15, there was a piece about 6:15.
Certainly. When the district ran the after-school program in the 2019-2020 school year before it was suspended, it ran from 2:15 to 5:30
Yep.
with a break. Some parents picked their children up at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
The subcontractor has extended those hours
Oh,
to
okay.
6 p.m. So it actually means our paperwork for the building use right now is not correct. So we have to correct it.
Who's in charge?
You would just need a buffer zone before any outside groups come in to use the
Right.
school, Beth. I don't think
Yeah.
you make
Do I
note
need to
of
put
that
that in
though.
the minutes?
You don't. No,
Okay,
no.
all right.
You could just put that we're not going to extend the use of the school to outside groups for the time being.
Yeah, I got that. Okay,
That's
great.
interesting. That's
Sorry, I
that.
just didn't miss anything important.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was just explaining some of the issues to the members of the school committee that by no means need to be in the minutes.
Mr. Brandazzi, do you want to give an update on the busy summer activities?
I'll give a brief update, and in the principal's report, I think Mr. Andrews has more details. I think it has been a really good summer. I want to thank the staff who we had for both the earlier summer program and the acceleration week. Parents have told me and have reported that both were really positive, very good for kids, and we will continue to look at ways to utilize the federal funds. Debbie Canal is working with me on a consultant basis. She's our former director of special education. We are working on the ESSER 3 grant now, which is the one that was significantly increased because of a variety of reasons, including some districts not using the ESSER funds earlier. And we have about $178,000 that can be spent all the way till June of 2024. So we are looking at ways of enhancing the learning opportunities for students and making up for some of the lost learning that has taken place. So I'll leave the details of the summer programming to Mr. Andrews, if Madam Chair. The facilities report, if I may move on, is wonderful. The only thing we have left to put our spick and span polishing on are the hallways. The cafeteria is done, the library is done, all the classrooms are done. Teachers have begun to prepare their individual rooms. There are, I think, about 4 teachers in today working on their rooms. And we will be ready. The staff comes in on the 30th, which is Monday. And we kick off our school year on the 31st, which is Tuesday. And we're all very excited about starting the school year on time this year. If you remember last year, we had a 2-week hiatus for training. That was important, I would say. But this year, we're all pretty knowledgeable about what we're doing. And of course, last year we were in the remote mode. Just to be clear, because parents may ask you, what'll happen if I choose not to send my child to school? At this point, there is no remote option available to any public school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. A parent who chooses to not to send their child to school has one option, and it's basically homeschooling, or we will be reporting the parent after the appropriate number of absences as their child being not attending school.
And Mr. Parentazzi, if a family decided to pursue homeschooling, is it also true that they would need to communicate that with the district and present their plans for approval?
Absolutely. There is an actual formal application for homeschooling that Mr. Andrews and I preview. They need to give us the type of education, the hours of each of the major subjects, how they are accommodating the minor subjects. I can tell you from my experience in both New York State and Massachusetts, not approving a homeschool plan is a challenge for a superintendent. But we have asked for more details and for clearer plans from parents because they were vague or didn't cover the obligations of covering all the mandated subjects. But eventually the homeschooling will be approved unless it's just an outrageously vague and inappropriate application. Parents don't need to have educational backgrounds, although many of our parents do. So there is a process. Mrs. Sherlock was absolutely right. And we do adhere to the process very clearly and very carefully. It's, in my opinion, it's not a small matter for parents to assume homeschooling. It's time consuming and it's an important decision.
I have one quick question on that line of discussion. Are there any modifications to the amount of absences that are going to be allowed this school year? I'm not asking specifically for the Johnson School, but statewide because of, assumed, the threshold at which kids will be kept home has certainly been lower over the past 2 years than in previous years. So I didn't know if there was any, I know that there's a number of absences that are determined as acceptable before, different, follow-up interventions are pursued, whether it be for the child's illness or, potentially having to quarantine because of exposure.
Yeah, that's a really excellent question because last year there were exceptions to the absence rules made for both students and staff for quarantine and close contact determination. This year there are those exceptions being made, but they're much more stringent. And they are reported on a, I have to report them.
Mhm.
So if a child or a staff member is exposed because of the vaccination that our staff has, there would be less absences due to close contacts. But right now, the students, it's a shorter duration than it was last year, but they are still expected to remain in quarantine or in isolation. And we report those absences.
Yeah. Although we talked about it at the last meeting, in actuality, the amount of quarantine days that were mandated because of a potential exposure at school, even with us being open the entire school year, was really low. I mean, it was reported upon at every meeting, you know, if anybody was in quarantine because of a potential exposure. And I mean, Mr. Andrews might know the exact number, but it was just really, really low. So I think it would be more along the lines of exposures outside of school usually, as long as
That's right.
because we're essentially, I mean, we're following the same regulations that we did last year, so.
All of the close contacts and quarantine issues that we had, with the exception of 2 adults, I believe, were outside of school. And this year, we have the testing variation, which minimizes the quarantine and close contact isolation unless there are symptoms.
Mhm.
Last year, it was, we had to have that long period of isolation and quarantine, symptoms or not.
Right,
Now you can go test out of both of those if you're symptom free and
that's not good.
fever free.
Yeah.
I believe
So
it's called test and stay.
yeah,
Should I be putting all these in the minute?
No, we're just chatting,
No.
we're just chatting.
I recommend the language that a discussion about the details of COVID procedures in the Johnson Elementary School ensued. I always like that word.
Soon.
I like that.
It covers so much.
Mr. Andrews, would you like to give the principal's report?
I'd be happy to, Madam Chair.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair, I have one more thing, if I may. We're still waiting for the parts for our HVAC system, but all of the other summer work has been done, with the exception of the handicap ramp. The gentleman who was going to do the ramp has decided not to do it, so Vinny and I have to get the materials, and I'm going to do it. As part of my background as a general contractor. And until then, the handicap ramp in the front of the building is off limits. So we will be directing anyone who needs the handicap ramp around to another entrance or exit that is not as high as the main entry. And both of we actually have 3 other entrances that are handicap accessible.
Wait a second. So just mention that we're improving the handicap access and
We're repairing the handicap ramp to the main entry, and we are still waiting for the materials to repair the HVAC heating system that feeds or heats the cafeteria. And everything else has been done.
if this had been an entrance requirement, I never would have made it on the committee. You realize this. Okay.
You're doing a
Mr.
fine
Bianchi, are you sure you don't want to hire someone to fix that? Not that I don't have full confidence in you, but you know.
We've tried 2 different people, and one thought the job was too small, and the other one wanted to rip the whole thing out and charge us $16,000 for 3 boards that needed to be repaired.
I'd be happy to jump in with you, Tony, if you need a hand.
Okay. You can applaud.
Okay.
And I'll bring my saws and hopefully we'll all end up with 10 fingers and everything will be fine.
Just don't invite John Sherlock, or else that might not be the case. He's known to injure himself in unusual ways.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh,
He's
no.
actually like
Sorry.
really handy, but
He is really handy.
but it goes wrong sometimes. Yeah.
Luckily, he has family in the medical field.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy.
All's well that ends well in this case, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, I'd be happy to carry on with the principal's report at this time if that would suit you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Certainly. Well, I'm happy to report I felt that the Back to School Academy was a success. We had excellent attendance and the students were really focused and, showing up every day with great attitudes and doing some great projects, I thought. This was a bit more academic focused and school readiness focused than the camp that we ran. And I think it was successful. We had 3 classes. We had one wonderful teacher from outside, Amy Sinclair. She was from Peabody. And the students were enthusiastic to work with her each day, as well as with Ms. Federo and Ms. McAuliffe. Ms. McAuliffe took on math. Math was the focus of grades 3 to 6. The state had asked us to focus on math for those grades and then focus on literacy for grades K to 2. And that makes sense. I think the real focus makes sense in those areas. And it was project-based still in the upper grades with the last day of the program, including presentations that I was able to observe and just went off swell. The students, again, they had a great attitude about it. I was concerned that they wouldn't be as enthusiastic about signing up for it, but I think they really did enjoy themselves. And I saw some great learning happening.
What a credit to those teachers for making it so engaging that they had a good attitude in the summer. Good job.
Absolutely, 100%. I was really grateful that we had those 3 folks who signed up and glad they did a great job. I agree. I also would like to give you an enrollment update. We've had some changes since we last met. I have shared with you the numbers in my principal's report. In pre-K, we currently have 33 students enrolled total. The busiest day right now looks like it'll have 32 students, which is great to see. In kindergarten, we have 17. First grade, 31 students. That's, I believe, up 1. And I have some details on this below that I'll go over in a moment. In grade 2, we have 20. In grade 3, we have 12. In grade 4, we have 11, mostly in part to a number of students going to the charter school this coming school year, mostly to follow their siblings who are already there. In grade 5, we have 18. In grade 6, we have 19. The K to 6 total right now is at 128. And if you include the preschoolers, it's a total of 161 students. If there aren't questions about those specific numbers, I can go into my enrollment changes report. And this is a report that I had offered to present at our last meeting to you to kind of outline what we're noticing in trends and where students are going, where they're coming from, and what the net change is. So in the first line, we noticed that there are 5 students coming from private or parochial schools. And I'm putting those 2 together because in my mind, those are programs that require parents to pay for the program. And so that's a bit unique because a parent's going to have to make that commitment. And so we see five students who are going to be attending that type of a school. And then, so 5 students are coming back from private or parochial school and rejoining the Johnson School. Leaving to attend a private or parochial school is 1 student. Returning from a charter school, we don't have any students coming back from charters this year. But leaving to attend a charter school, we have 4 students. And as a reminder, charter schools are funded by the local school district. And so our school district or town will fund that student's enrollment in the charter school. And the parent does not have to pay to attend the charter school. So for them, it's an opportunity to go to a different program at no cost. Moving into town, we had 1 student, and moving out of town, we had 2 students. So our net change was 1 student. So in total, I'm counting a loss of 1 student. It's a bit trickier in kindergarten as you look at who's coming up into kindergarten, based on the fact that they hadn't been in our school before. And so, either they're homeschooling, kindergarten's optional, things like that. But I'm certain that, in my record of this, I actually have notes about, so-and-so and so-and-so are coming back. And so it's just little first names. And so, me and Sherry the administrative assistant in the office, can kind of go through this list and just say, oh yeah, this person's coming back, this person's coming in. And I think this is a pretty good summary of our net change this school year. It doesn't include preschool, of course, which is pretty significant. Other questions about that?
No, thank you.
Certainly.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Sure.
we don't have the detail of preschool yet, and we will be developing it, but it is potential that we would need 2 kindergartens and 2 second grades next year.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that. Now, it's not assured because what we have to do is break down the birthdays of all of those 33 students.
Mhm.
And obviously, that is a critical function. But on the other hand, we may be getting more students as they turn.
Yeah.
We know some students, I believe there's 2 more, if I'm not mistaken, that will be turning the appropriate age to go to preschool within the first 6 months. But
Yeah, I think that number might be closer to 4.
4.
So I think by December, we'll have 4 additional preschool students. I believe, and again, not 100% sure on that number, but that's my recollection. And what we're trying to do now is we're looking at making sure that parents understand that they have the opportunity to soft secure a space in preschool by registering and leaving a deposit. And then I'm also hoping to, in the future, have a clearer idea of when we expect all the paperwork to be in for preschool. Historically, we have been, I think, generous with our timelines for preschool. And I think that is important for us for staffing purposes, just to make sure that we have an idea and we are a deadline helps people commit.
Right. It seems like people tend to enroll, closer to the beginning of the school year, which makes it sometimes difficult to plan staffing.
Yeah.
So with the current staffing, what number could we enroll up to for the preschool? Like how many students, what's the ratio, sort of maximum for, students per day?
So, Madam Chair, what we're planning is we have 1 veteran teacher and 1 paraprofessional hired.
Mhm.
Based on this most recent uptick, we are looking to hire 1 more teacher 3 days a week and 1 more para.
Wow. For the beginning of the school year?
Yep.
Wow.
Hopefully. Yeah, we need it. We have 16-ish students in lunch bunch.
Mhm.
So we need 2 paras from 11:30 to 2:15. 16 is way too many for
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
And because we'll have groups We may be a little heavy on Tuesday and Thursday in terms, not, I don't mean heavy. We may have more staff than we need
Mhm.
on Tuesday and Thursday, is because we'll need the paras for the lunch bunch. But Mr. Andrews can determine if the second para needs to be with the preschool, or if he can use that second para in the morning for an alternative assignment. But it's always better, particularly with paras. I did the financial analysis today, and we'll be in good financial shape. We'll have enough money to cover all of this. The wild card is the medical insurance, because I don't know if everybody needs it, if they don't need it. Because with 4 staff members, the medical insurance alone can be as much as $80,000.
I will also like to let you know that I was able to interview 2 candidates today that are experienced preschool paraprofessional. One's an experienced preschool paraprofessional and one's an experienced teacher. So we have good candidates in the wings for those positions.
So we could theoretically start the school year off with the extra teacher and paraprofessional that we think we need for the number of students. It's great.
Yep, that's the plan. It's, yeah, I would say more than theoretical. They were, experienced teachers and paraprofessionals in the preschool area, and really well met. And I would be happy to work with them.
Great. Mr. Andrews, thank you for all the effort you put into not only, our elementary school, but running a preschool at the same time. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. I learned that hiring is one of the biggest levers that we can pull as leaders, and that investment that you put into hiring staff really pays off. So we always just try to get a jump on it, forecast what we're going to need, and interview accordingly.
Thank you. If we were to, continue on a higher enrollment pattern over the next few years, and we end up needing, 2 second grades, 2 kindergartens, as next couple of years go on. I know that the way we currently are utilizing our space in the school, we're making use of rooms in different ways, which is wonderful. But we do have enough rooms that we could then kind of shift and dedicate to make more classrooms again, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, this coming school year, the STEM, art, and music are all being taught in the same room, and so we'll have one because of space requirements for desks. So I know that there's already a full classroom that's going to be empty this coming school year. We're going to use it for something, but it could certainly house a classroom in the future. And we absolutely have the space that we need.
Thank you.
Talking about facility, just want to make sure everyone knows that we are planning on having lunch outdoors as much as possible. I did send an email out or a newsletter out requesting that parents send in the sit-upons again. Students are eager to do that. Staff really enjoyed it. I think that it gives us a more relaxed environment for eating without masks. So we're looking forward to, and it's just a pleasant grounds. I mean, we have a view of the ocean from behind the library, so you can't beat that for lunch. So students are looking forward to doing that again, and staff are looking forward to supporting that. And so that's the plan for lunch. But as a backup, as Superintendent Parentozzi mentioned, we have desks in the cafeteria ready to go in inclement weather. And also, I just wanted to recognize the efforts that James and Vinny have put in over the summer. At our last meeting, we looked at some changes that we had to make in terms of the Delta variant with respect to moving away again from big tables in kindergarten, in art, in first grade, and back to desks. And so that required a lot of rejiggering. And then also Zach Taylor from DPW sent us some students over to dig out desks from what we call the dungeon, the space underneath the school where we store our old desks And so those great desks that were donated years ago from, I think, Lowell or Lawrence were cleaned off and put back into use. And so, you know, a lot of nice effort was done, and I want to recognize that. The school will be ready, as the superintendent mentioned. We will be working up to the deadline. We will be ready, however, thanks to the efforts of our custodial staff. And then I want to mention that just at recent events, as I mentioned, we'll be holding a bicycle safety rodeo, and that happened today. It really came off nicely, thanks to Judy from Safe Routes to School, and our new police chief, Timothy Furlong, came out with his bicycle patrol, and we were able to see the police bicycles. Talked to Officer O'Brien, our school resource officer, and also Chief Furlong. And they also joined us for the back to school slush, which was a great success on the Forest Playground. Parents appreciated having the shade, having the chance to chat with each other, and then students had a chance to see what the school looked like and just cross that threshold for the first time to hopefully shake out some of those back to school anxieties if anybody had them. And also new students got a chance to see their school, meet the new teachers, and see their classroom. So thanks to all who came out for that. It was a wonderful little event that we had to get ready for the start of the school year. Below, I have upcoming events for you. Our first day flag raising will be on August 31st. August 30th, by the way, is our first day back for teachers. And we typically have a school committee member address the staff on that day. We have kindergarten screening. All this is listed on the front page of the website, trying to be better about making sure we get that information out to everybody. And then I also want to pitch our back to school s'mores, sponsored by NEF. The Nahant Education Foundation does so much for the school. And this is their effort to welcome everyone back, get everybody out to the beach, which is so beautiful. And that's on September 2nd from 6:30 to 7:30 at Short Beach. S'mores supplied. And I believe they said that sunset is at 7:16. If you'd like to be there right when that sun goes down and have your s'mores in a traditional style. So with that concludes my report. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. It's been a busy summer for you.
It has, but I've met lots of great folks on the way.
Yeah, it's good. So now's the time during the meeting that we can open the chat is open for any public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, you could make a statement in the chat, just include your name and address. And I will ask the other school committee members if there's been any correspondence directly to you as school committee members that you could share. I know there was just a couple of, it wasn't even a formal, communication, but there was a couple of questions that I sent to Mr. Andrews regarding, the sit-upons and easy things like that, but I haven't had any communication otherwise. I think we can move right forward to new business. Mr. Parentazzi, did you want to talk about the items in new business?
Madam Chair, I'd love to. First of all, we have been the recipient of a donation of 18 air purifiers that are in all of our classrooms and offices. There are 2 in the cafeteria, for example. And I'd like to thank Mr. Barletto, the town administrator, for arranging for that donation from federal funding. Even though we have windows that open, and even though we have fans, when I became aware that we could have air purifiers provided, I did not hesitate. No, health and safety is the center of my bullseye, and why not? If we didn't take them, somebody else probably would, and we have them, and they're wonderful. Digital, fancy dancy things that monitor the air and turn themselves off when the air is healthy and turn themselves back on. They're pretty amazing. So once again, I wanted to make sure that we thanked the town administrator for arranging that for us.
Even
Um,
COVID aside, it's great to have that in general in life. So that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
I wanted to also mention the fact that Mr. Tony Maltasia has donated his time for the installation of the Gaga pit. And Lady Gaga has declined my invitation to be here for its grand opening. But I think everybody knows what that is. It's the circle with the softballs, and I will be sending a thank you on your behalf to Mr. Matasea. And two other items: the agreement for the extended day program with Island Roots has been forwarded to you. It is all set. Two bits of good news. One is an extended program, actually 3 bits, an extended program so parents who really had to hustle to get here at 5:30 can now relax a little bit. Two, the discussions with the Island Roots administrators resulted in your lowest rate, which was approved months ago for this coming September's after school program, is the rate that's going to be charged for all the students. So some parents who are here 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days a week will actually have a significant reduction in their annual cost. And that's wonderful. And then the third thing is that we are in place and ready to go. And that was, as you know, a concern of Mr. Andrews and mine, that we couldn't find staffing. All of the paperwork, all of the communication, all of the payroll, etc., will be done by Island Roots. So, and the third thing I wanted to mention to you is they are going to calculate a net over costs, and it was first offered that we would get 10% of that for the general fund, the revolving account. And today I was able to increase that to 15%. So when all things are said and done, when Island Roots pays all their bills, they pay all their salaries, benefits, etc., etc., whatever net is left, the revolving account for the after school program will get 15% of that money, which is great.
Thank you both for negotiating that for the school. I've heard from a lot of families that they're really grateful that we're going to have an after school program. And I think we mentioned at previous meetings that, you know, some families' decision to send their kids to the Johnson School was relying upon, you know, us having an after school program. One quick question I do have, if families are asking about how to sign their child up for the after school program, is there going to be, I was just looking on the Johnson School website. I don't see anything there yet. Is there going to be a link to their?
Yeah, Mr. Andrews will go into the details, but he is working with the executive director of Island Roots to have a public relations release that will be sent to the newspapers, that will be posted on our town website, our website, and also they are working, and I believe as early as tomorrow, we'll have the paperwork out to our email list, parents, guardians, and on our website. Did I
That's
cover
right,
everything?
Superintendent Parentozzi. I was able to speak with Jessie today, and she'll be sending that to me tomorrow. She was working on it tonight, and I'll have it in your inbox tomorrow.
And so that families would be able to sign up and even start on day one. It's great.
Yes.
It's really great.
Yes, we have. It is the intention of both Island Roots and ourselves that the program will be in place on the first day of school on the 31st.
Oh. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, we're actually sharing some staff. Today, we hired a part-time paraprofessional who I believe will be working for
Yeah.
Island Roots.
Program. Oh, interesting.
So, which is phenomenal.
On that note, I think we've gone over a lot of the staffing updates. You know, in a previous email, there was a list of the new staff. I don't know if you want to summarize the staffing update.
Yeah, let me go very quickly. Lydia Antrim will be our just want to look at my get my notes. She will be our second grade teacher. I believe you've already previously been informed about her, so I'll skip her. She's a local, was a student here and is a local. Jessica Martineau has been hired as a paraprofessional assigned to the kindergarten. Ms. Martineau is a parent of several students in our school district. We're really happy about that. A new one that you did not know about was Erin Morton. And Erin is will be our third grade teacher. That was a resignation that we got within the last 2 weeks. And that is the third resume in your packet. She has a second grade experience in the Haggerty Elementary School in Cambridge, and also as a paraprofessional in Cambridge. And the interview team was very, very impressed with her. I do want to thank the interview team, all the teams, all the parents, guardians, and of course, Mr. Andrews. In my opinion, the cadre of new hires is phenomenal. Experienced, high quality, good communicators, charming. This new group really understands. Today I spoke with them. They really understand the customer service mentality of modern educators, that we are in a competitive market, just like everyone else is, and that it's our job to make parents, guardians feel welcome, feel comfortable. We have the most precious thing that an adult could have in our responsibility for many hours every day. And the parents, guardians, and other relatives need to feel comfortable about that. And it's our job to have them feel comfortable. We have hired a phenomenal art teacher. When I tell you, you only got 1 page of Laura Petrovich Cheney's resume. She is a national board certified art teacher. And if anybody is interested in, her resume was 5 pages long. She has had exhibitions. She has written textbooks. She has taught teachers. It's just incredible. We are just so fortunate to have her, and she will continue her private business as an artist, and we are thrilled to have her on board. I believe you saw Gabby Raymond's resume before. She's our first grade teacher, so I'll skip that, even though you have it in your packet. Stephanie Rouse, my mind cannot recall. You may have seen that before, but she's an employee of Salem State, and is changing her occupation from a full-time coach and equipment manager to a teacher, and she is a licensed physical education teacher who has a lot of experience in a variety of things. And then Lauren Weigel is our substitute for kindergarten for the teacher who will be on a leave of absence. And today I hired, but I'm still working out the finals, a part-time paraprofessional. Mr. Martin. And then, of course, in the next couple of days, we will be hiring another early childhood teacher and another early childhood paraprofessional. One of our previous paraprofessionals has been transferred by Mr. Andrews to early childhood. So we already have one there. And we will have a creative solution to our music dilemma. And that's right now the best I can do to inform you that we will continue to look for a music teacher. We will announce it to all of our staff. We will announce it. We have already announced it to all our parents. We will continue to look for someone. And the important thing is, because of COVID-19, someone who's musically inclined or has talent in musical instruments and wants to teach one day a week, we can get an emergency license for one more year. So that's important. And
If I can
that is
add,
it.
Superintendent Parentozzi, I
Please.
will be working with the PTO and the Nahant Education Foundation to focus our enrichment opportunities in the area of music for the start of the school year. And that is one of our tacts to take. And also looking to bring on an instrumental teacher. Often you can find someone who will teach instrumental music to students who want to sign up for that, and perhaps also have that person focus with certain grade levels on recorder. So I think that by breaking down some of the pieces, we'll be able to have music in the school. And my real intent is really to have a chorus teacher so that we can have programming around that, around singing, which really adds so much to the school. It's a really important function of a school and attribute of a school. So, we're working on that. But I want to let you know, those are our strategies in the near term until we find that chorus teacher.
Thank you for all that work. And just to confirm, I've been asked, and so these hires, of which there are many and are very impressive, the only one that is a long-term sub would be for kindergarten. The rest are all official hires. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, through you, yes, that is absolutely correct. They are, they own the positions, so to speak. The
Right.
kindergarten substitute is taking the place of a teacher who has the property rights to that position, but everyone else, it's their position.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Once again, I don't want to prolong the meeting, but I do want to thank Mr. Andrews and all the staff members and parents and guardians. They did a great job. With the exception of 3 classroom teachers, the entire staff has turned over since Mr. Andrews and I have been here. And it's, excuse me, there's also 2 paras. So of all the almost 40 staff members, there are basically 5 people who were here when we arrived. And due to the diligence of Mr. Andrews, the parents, guardians, and staff members who have done the interviewing, we have assembled an outstanding faculty and staff.
And I'm not taking it personally that we had so much turnover.
I guess
No, every
I mean, it's just the natural, I mean, some of it, it seems like there's a variety of reasons for the turnover, not just one reason. So my inclination is not to be concerned, but I mean, certainly, it's been recognized that there's been a lot of new hires, within the school. And I mean, everybody that I've talked to has been really happy with the, new teachers that have, been in the position. So I thank you for all of your efforts over the past few years, but, hopefully there will be some stability now that we've gotten some really good staff into these positions.
It's
moving.
important also to note, if I may, that, Madam Chair, that I think when we came, there hadn't been a hire in 8 years.
Right, right.
And so again,
Natural.
it is that life cycle.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah, that seems to be the case.
There's
Mhm.
also a lot of turnover right now in all schools.
Yeah.
My own
All
school,
professions.
a ton of turnover. There's teachers going into other schools. There's teachers that are staying in whatever school district is local to wherever they quarantined in the pandemic. And so there are a lot of people leaving teaching after this. So I think it's going to take a couple of years for the world to sort itself out, and figure out. And I also think that we have a public relations job to do, at least in the United States with regard to teaching, because there was so much hullabaloo and a lot of it negative around teachers and teaching during the pandemic. And with schools being closed, teachers bore a lot of the brunt of that. And I think that there was some public stuff that was not helpful from various constituencies for against teachers unions. So I think that it's been a little bit of a bumpy ride, and there's nothing, we just got to, stay steady. And it feels like Nahant is, based on these new hires, it seemed really exciting that we've rallied and stayed steady and done a good job. So I think that's great.
Thank you.
So I think with that being said, we can, I don't know if any school committee members have any new business that they would like to bring up or discuss. I didn't have.
Only really small point I just wanted to make that Swampscott Middle School, this is probably typical for them, but they were lovely and reached out and organized a locker day and orientation for the incoming Nahant students for grade 7. So it was nice. I think that that's probably something that's done each year, and I haven't concentrated very hard on it in the past, but this year it directly impacted me, and I'll express my thanks. It was great. So the Nahant kids were able to go in and practice opening their lockers and see where their homerooms were. And I think it relieved a lot of anxiety for many of our students who are leaving our little tombolo for the first time. So that was great. And you've been great about making sure that communication is excellent between the schools. So we've been, they all have our email addresses in Swampscott, and we're getting all sorts of appropriate information about bus schedules and everything to the Nahant parents. So that's all been great and seamless, and I appreciate it. So thank you for all you've done to coordinate with Swampscott.
My pleasure.
Lauren.
I know, she's going on a big bus.
So I think that's all that we have for business for the regular meeting today. If somebody would like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session, not to reconvene to open session. And the goal of our executive session is to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and to approve our executive session meeting minutes from August 9th.
I'm happy to make a motion to adjourn our regular meeting from August 24th at 8:20 p.m. to enter into executive session, not to reconvene an open session, as listed by the chair, to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and approval of executive session minutes.
And I'll second that.
All in favor? Can I show of hands? Ms. Karas, Ms. Sherlock, Ms. Anderson, and myself. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you, Mr. Andrews, for all the interviews.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parentazzi.
Thank you.
Oh,
you.
before our administrators leave, do you want to talk? The school committee typically hosts a back to school breakfast for staff and teachers. And And we can chat about it if you prefer, just as a committee, but as the administrators, I just wanted to know what your thoughts were if the school committee was inclined to do so this year. I don't want to speak out of turn or anything, just wanted to bring it up before we lost you.
I would welcome it. I don't think that it would be in conflict with our COVID-19 guidelines as they are currently. And I would also welcome any and all school committee members to come and share remarks if they were able.
On August 30th? That's Monday.
Yes, that's Monday.
I can't. I don't know if anybody else is able to go.
What time?
Mondays are like the worst days for me.
What time?
It would be, the remarks would be at 8:30.
Anybody able to make that?
And that's just with staff.
It's just with staff. We didn't do it last year because of, of course, the pandemic. No guests.
Although I think
no
Lauren
food.
went to greet the staff the first.
Oh, I'm
day.
sorry. I'm sorry, Ms. Sherlock.
I don't know if it was, I think it was more informal, but I remember that you went to go.
Yeah, it's pretty formal.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I might be able to do that.
Lauren did a great job.
I tried. It was an interesting year to be standing up there in front of
That's
everybody.
right.
A little, yeah, it was unusual. And
So we
I
can
can
order
see
a
it.
breakfast, and Beth, if you wanted to just, communicate our thanks
Mhm.
and introduce the breakfast.
I'd be
Oh,
happy
it's
to
good to
deliver-
come with food.
I'd be happy to deliver it as I have in the
Thank you.
past.
We've typically ordered from Periwinkle's, is that right,
Yeah,
Mr. Andrews?
That's right.
Yeah. And there's a kind of a standard menu that I think we've gone with before. I think they might even have on file. So I can chat with the rest of the members and we can talk about how we usually do that. And if you pick up, we'll communicate with you and close that loop. That's great. And
Great.
then Beth, there's a chance that I'll be able to come too. I'll just communicate with my colleagues.
Yeah.
If so, I'll be happy to come too. Even if you're the speaker, I'll be there as moral support.
We also can both say something, which would be great. And it's a thank you and an honoring,
Mhm.
like 1 minute.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. Thank you both. All right, sounds great.
Yeah, it is nice to have that.
Yeah, it might be
Yeah,
a nice start
it's-
to the year.
The staff really appreciates it. They
Yeah.
really do. I
And
know
last
it's
year, COVID
I
was
know
a big,
it can be a hassle and a hardship because of your personal and professional time commitments, but we'll get you in and out just like we always do.
yeah.
Great.
And
And you
last
can
year,
say, the cool thing is you can say anything you want.
That's
and
dangerous.
last year we didn't really talk about it because COVID we were trying so hard to get in the door and sharing food didn't seem like the thing to do last year. So we didn't really talk about it at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Well, we talked about it, but we didn't do it. And then we did something later, but just seems like a nice way to start the year.
Great.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks
for
so much. We'll be in
that.
touch about details. Good night.
Good night.
Madam Chair, do you want me to stay for the minutes or do you want me to leave now?
Yeah, we could go through the discussion of the minutes.
Okay.
So attached to the email from earlier today. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up. I think it was from today. Yeah, earlier today, Mr. Parentazzi sent along the executive session minutes from August 9th. If someone would like to, I'm going to call the executive session meeting to order at 8:25 p.m. And if anybody would like to make a motion to approve the executive session minutes from August 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the executive committee minutes from August 9th.
In a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, by show of hands. Unanimous approval, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Parentazzi.
Thank you,
Bye,
Tony.
everybody. Bye,
Again,
everybody.
you'll be in our thoughts.
Good night.
And thank you for all your kindnesses. They are tremendously appreciated.
Thinking of you.
Thinking of you, Tony.
So to add, I got a little bit of information that's totally, just to add to our discussion about Tony, about his salary adjustments and such. I was looking for a little bit more history from people even before I was on the committee. And so our previous superintendent, Phil, he never had a raise. He was 50,000 across the board in all his years. But he was a very different superintendent than the one that we currently have. So using that as a precedent might be a little bit, it might be, I wouldn't advocate for it. His function was very, very different and much less involved, to say the least. And basically when Tony started out, Lori Ballantyne, who was the chair, Phil just gave me this info. When Tony started, I wasn't there. He started at 45,000 about. And the goal was to build his salary up over time because it was considered to be relatively low. And the percentage raises were around the 5% mark because his performance was considered to be so above average. So I think the school committee, I'm reflecting what Lori's telling me about before I was even on for kind of history. So 3 to 5% was the ballpark that he got historically per year from her memory. And Chris would have exact numbers and you may have more than me, Gina. But basically it was felt by the committee that it was appropriate to give him a raise that would reflect how the committee felt about his performance and that it wasn't just a 2%, which would, when I was on the committee, would have been considered kind of like the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. And then up to 5 was kind of in my mind, like the generous top for me personally. But I also come from working in the healthcare industry where we're lucky to get 2 to 3% every year. And like, we don't get more than that. That's just how the world works. And that's where it's set. And people who were on the committee with me worked in business and in other kinds of private enterprise where if you were exceeding expectations, you'd get financial rewards. That was very different than what I've experienced. So when we all kind of like put our heads together and thought about Tony, when I was on the committee, we ended up voting for 3 to 5% raises and I think a 5% bonus, understanding that he was, in our opinion, really dedicated and there whenever we needed him and doing more and more that we never expect. And then Gina and I looked, well, I don't know, Gina probably looked a lot more than me, but I looked a bit at neighboring town superintendent salaries because it's all public knowledge and just got a ballpark of what their people make. And I was struck by the fact that others make a pretty decent amount. And I didn't feel like looking at Swampscott and Marblehead superintendents, I never felt like Tony was overpaid. So that's my little blurb. I'll stop talking.
So, Tony is part-time and he's considered like half-time. Is that correct understanding?
Yeah.
So, and just because I wasn't involved when he was hired, so are his benefits then also reflective of a part-time position or does he get full benefits? That's the only other question I have. So the reason I'm asking, so if you look at, and I had sent you Tony's salary for fiscal year 2019, 2020, and 2021. And so there must have been just 1 year before that where he was hired at 45,000. But he's gotten 5 and then 10% raises in the past, likely reflective of the fact that after the first year or two, it was obvious that he, functioned really differently than the previous superintendents. And so
the 10% was because he didn't get a raise 1 year.
Oh, okay, that's helpful. And then it looks like the bonuses have been, 4 or 5%. But if you look at the superintendent in Swampscott, I'm just pulling it up. I can't have like multiple things open on my screen at once. But I don't know where I put this. Oh, it must be further down. Oh, the superintendent in Swampscott, when they were hired, and this is, I mean, in 2017, was getting $163,000. So that was not that she was hired, it was the contract renegotiation in 2017. And then the information that Lauren got from Marblehead puts their for the 2020 to 2021 school year, they were being paid $185,000. So, I mean, is it too basic to, compare 50% of that to Tony's salary, which seems that he's, well below what they're getting paid? And then, when I looked up, I was trying to get statewide numbers on what, salaries are. And it's really interesting because, so if you look at the Department of Education profile, all you can get is teacher salaries. It doesn't break it down by the position. So that I felt like inaccurately skewed it. But then when you look at like Indeed or you get like a really broad range. So like, and I don't know how reliable these sources are, but like on salary.com, the school superintendent salary for Massachusetts, the median is written to be 180,000. And then if you look at the average on like Indeed, it says 108,000. So I don't know, how to get a better sense of, other than looking up, town by town. So I don't know if we just use, Swampscott, Marblehead as a good starting ground for comparables. But I don't know how to get a broader sense. It's also, it's also probably important to know the reason that we have a part-time superintendent is because, we just have one elementary school and then negotiations with Swampscott. So whereas, Marblehead and Swampscott have multiple elementary schools, a middle school and a high school, it's different. So I don't even honestly really know how to compare that.
I was gonna get, I mean, do we have to come up with a decision tonight?
I think we should.
I think we should.
Unless there's a strong reason not to, I think we should.
I wish I had jumped in before, sorry to interrupt you. Gina, I could definitely get all accurate salaries. They're public. There's a website. I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but you can find out anybody's anything and what other things they have. I do think there is a little apples and oranges because not only does Swampscott have more schools, but high schools come with more pain. In some, well, I guess that's probably a little subjective on my part, but they, there's some more things that happen when you have a high school that I think, different contracts, bigger athletics, all of these kinds of things. That being said, I think that the contrast to Marblehead and Swampscott aren't bad guides, but I think it's not as easy as 50 is underpaid because it's half time. What I guess I want to honor in this, and I said a little bit of this last time, is that he just got a small, a tiny island town through a pandemic. We watched Nantucket go nuts with all their resources, during COVID. And, he kept us, I don't even know if their schools were in session, maybe some of you know, but he kept us in session. And I think they made really careful, reasoned decisions to help people stay calm. They're great at giving out information. And he really stewarded all of that. I bet it was a full-time job last year. And so in terms of bonus, for me, it's go bigger on the bonus and stay in sort of what feels like an industry scale. That doesn't mean don't give a raise, but I think stay within some kind of industry scale of salary. But to honor this time feels really important, and what he stewarded us through, to the point that we're okay to open up, without a lot of malarkey.
It
I
seems-
agree with you, Beth. But I'm looking at it as, I think we need to make a decision of, is he paid at market value right now? You know, and I think it's a difficult one because I think it's really three parts, you know, bringing him up to market rate, then giving him a merit increase, and then giving him a bonus.
Right.
So I'm probably not the most qualified person to talk about, you know, what would be the most appropriate thing financially, but I think in my mind, the minimum I'd want for a % increase for Tony would be